Did you know that the layout of your homepage can make or break your website's success? If visitors land on your site and don't instantly find what they're looking for, they'll bounce and leave faster than you can say conversion rate. Today, we're diving into the homepage formula, what you need to put above and below the fold to maximize your conversions and keep visitors engaged from the beginning. Let's get started. Welcome to the E-commerce Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Saunders. When we started this business, all I had was a couch, a laptop, and a 9-month-old. My main goal? To help others. Now, with over 20 years in the e-commerce building industry and even more than that in web development, I have seen a lot. I love breaking down the hard tech into easily understandable bits to help others be successful in their online business. Whether you're a seasoned e-commerce veteran or just starting out, you've come to the right place. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of e-commerce together. Welcome back to the show. Today, we're talking about one of the more crucial elements of your website, the homepage, specifically how to structure it for maximum conversions. We're going to be talking about how to make a first strong impression and strategically place content that guides visitors towards taking action and not just leaving your site really fast. So first off, why does your homepage matter? It is often the first impression visitors get. So we want to make sure that it counts. We want to make sure that it's warm, welcome, inviting, and very clear as to what you do and who you serve. Studies have shown that visitors form an opinion about your website within 50 milliseconds. That's really fast, 50 milliseconds. Think about a time you landed on a web page for the first time, or the next time you go to a new web page. Consider how long does it take you to form that initial opinion? I bet you're going to find it's really fast like that. And if your homepage is cluttered or unclear, they're likely to leave, and you're likely to leave too when you visit a website that's cluttered or unclear. So our goal is to guide visitors and build trust and drive them to take the next step and take action. So first, we need to make sure that we have the above the fold part of our website dialed in and great. So what is above the fold, in case you're not familiar? That is what you see when you land on the web page without scrolling, whether that's on a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, a phone. So that's what they see and what your customers see when they open your web page before they do anything else. So at the top of this of your web page, what you really need to have is a clear and compelling call to action. It should really immediately communicate your value to the potential prospect, who you serve, what you do, and it should be very clear and not clever. So we want to make sure that we're really speaking to the audience's words and speaking more towards the benefits of your services or your products than to the features. So get in your customer's mind and try to come up with, what's their pain points? What am I solving? What's my end result? So talk about your end result and how you help them. You want to make sure we are avoiding vague language and then also clever language. We want to be very, very clear. You can also, if you feel like your headline tends to want to be a little bit too wordy, consider having a sub-headline or brief description underneath it if you need to further explain. So maybe your headline is a more brief summary that captures their attention, but you need to explain a little bit more. Use that with a subheading or a brief description underneath. And then we want to have a very strong call to action. And we want to make sure the call to action is very clear. Do you want them to book a call? Do you want them to download a free guide of yours? Do you want them to start shopping on your website if they're e-commerce? What do you want them to do? And whenever you have that call to action, we want to make sure it's very action-oriented, as the word says, and we want to make sure that is very clear. So download your free guide. That's not what I would recommend because that's too vague. What kind of guide are we getting? We don't know what's going to happen. Now, when we say book a call, we know we're going to be booking a call, but maybe we want to say book an information call. That way they know, oh, well, if I book a call, I'm getting information about this person. So it's a little bit more specific. So you might want to say, download a free SEO checklist. I might want to say that like on my website, for example. Then it's a free SEO checklist. Somebody looking to search engine optimize their website will be like, oh, that's what I need and that's what I want, and they'll go get it. Rather than download a free guide, very vague, and it's not very, you're not compelled to do it. So we want to make sure We keep it as short as possible, but make sure it's action oriented. And we want to also make it a bit more visually stand out. So we have our brand colors. Maybe you have 2 to 4 brand colors. Typically people have 3. Well, you want to reserve one of those brand colors generally for your call to actions and for the places you really want to grab their attention. Amazon does this really well. Their orange checkout button is, right there in your face. Now it is part of their branding. You know that, but yet it stands out from the rest of the page because the rest of the page is like white and gray and things like that. So we want to make sure that our button's standing out. So if they were to put a gray button, not that most people put a gray button, but if they were to put a gray button, you wouldn't notice the add to cart as much. So we want to make sure that the button stands out visually as well. And then towards the top in the above the fold content, it's a really good idea to have a visual element. We want to use a high quality image or a video. I highly recommend if it's a video not to have an autoplay, please. That makes some of us motion sick, but we want to make sure that it supports your message. And if you're your own brand, say you're a coach or a course creator, a great photo of you may be the best idea here. People like to look at people. It's just our nature. So when we have a picture of a person looking us in the eye on our website, we're more drawn in to look at that person and then look at the items around that person on the website. So having your photo is great if you're comfortable with that and if that makes sense for your brand. If it doesn't make sense for your brand, say you're traditional e-commerce and you're selling products, then it's fine to have some sort of, maybe it's your main feature of what you sell, or maybe it's a collage of what you sell. Obviously, we don't want to be too busy, but we want to support our headlines and all the other elements that are with it. And like I said, people connect with faces. So showing a welcoming, you can even have a team photo if you're a team too, or a short intro video of your team as well, if that is applicable to you. And then our navigation is also very important. We want to keep it clean and simple. We want to limit that top menu items to about 4 to 6, maybe 7 if possible. And so we want to make sure that it's very clean and clear. We want to make sure the words are what people expect. Don't be using really odd, clever versions of the words that people expect to see up at the website at the top, because most people scan a website. And then they'll decide from that scan whether to actually then read the words. So we want to make sure it's very scannable. We want to have each of the menu items delineated or spaced out enough that we can easily scan each of the words. And we want to make sure they're the common terms you're going to find, like about, services, blog, contact, or contact us. Those are the typical words we see at the top. Could be shop if you have an e-commerce store. Or let's say if you are a traditional e-commerce store, you may have your top 5 categories at the top, as well as, some other supporting links for an e-commerce store like checkout and login and things like that. So we want to make sure these are more like industry standard. Use the rest of your website to really stand out, because we want to make sure the navigation is easy and clear. We don't want to be clever in the navigation 99% of the time. So also make sure we want to look at how your homepage looks on desktop, mobile, tablet if possible. We want to make sure that it looks great on all of those, because some of your above the fold content may not show on mobile. So you might want to adjust some of the elements when it's on mobile so that it's more effective for mobile. So we don't want to be hiding those really important things you designed for the desktop version. So make sure you're testing it on mobile as well. And then what do we put below the fold? What do we put next on the website? So once they're intrigued, our customers and visitors will scroll down more. And so this area should build on the value you have presented above the fold. So we can include some elements like social proof, and this is in no particular order. It kind of depends upon your vibe and what you're trying to come across with on your website. So as I list these out, know that you can rearrange these as it seems fitting for your website, but social proof would be definitely one of them. Testimonials, reviews, or client logos, could be media mentions, things along those lines that produce a social proof. People want to know that they can trust you. So word from other people is a great way to get social proof, as we talk about on the website a lot. It is that next step to building that trust factor and feeling confident in this person that's new to you. It's kind of like a friend referring you to this potential person. So it's kind of like a friend referral there. So think of it like that. And then you also want to put the features and benefits. We generally want to talk about benefits first versus features. So we want to go into detail about what makes you unique and what benefits they'll get. What end result are they going to get from your products or your services? You can use bullet points or icons to help make this part scannable. And if you do need to do features, I would, you maybe put them a little bit farther down the page. We do want to grab them first with benefits before we land them with features. So, but still want to make sure it's clear and it really supports the benefits as well. So they kind of go hand in hand. And then any supporting content that you think is necessary. So maybe a brief section about your services or your products with links to learn more. We want to keep it very focused and very easy to navigate. So you can kind of play with this area here because it kind of depends upon who you are and who you serve as to what kind of supporting content you might want. And then as you're doing this, as you're building this, going down through the page, we want to make sure there are visual breaks. Alternating background colors is a great way to do it, or images. We want to keep the content visually interesting. And if you have a website where it's like you have an image and then you have text beside it and an image and text, what you really want to do to help the reader scan down the page is do image on the left, text on the right, and then alternate it. Do text on the left, image on the right. And, as you go down the page, if you do all images on one side and all text on the other, our eyes aren't drawn naturally to follow the page and keep going down. We get stuck at every single image let's say they're on the left. We get stuck at every single image and we don't tend to scan to the right to see the words that go with it. So making sure you're alternating images and text if you're having some content that's like that is a really good idea to keep them looking down through your page. And then you can add some additional call to actions on a page. This is something I want to make sure that you're doing, especially if your page is long. We want to have several call to actions. You can reiterate your main call to action, or you can offer a secondary option. This kind of depends on a case by case basis, but you could start with just the same call to action, see how it goes, and then maybe add in another one at a later point and see whether you get a lot of clicks on it or not. So you can play with this. I don't feel like you have to get it perfect the first time. We want to make sure that we are testing things and letting things stay up long enough so that we can get a good feel as to whether they worked or not. And we don't want to overload our below the fold content too much. So let's prioritize our most important information on the homepage and our most important call to actions. We want to make sure it's not too cluttered. So when you're done listening to this episode, I want to challenge you to take the homepage test. I want you to open up your website on both your laptop or desktop and on your mobile device. And I want you to look at it with a new set of eyes. Is your headline clear? Do you see the main call to action immediately? Is that clear as well? Does it have action words in it? Is your most important content easy to find? Are your navigation menu items, do they make sense still? Or is it outdated ideas that you had, months or years ago that you need to readjust now that your business maybe has changed a little bit? So I want you to take a good look at your homepage after the episode and really evaluate it and pick, 1 to 3 items that you want to accomplish in the next 1 or 2 weeks so that you don't put this off too much, because a great homepage can really make or break your website and can really increase your conversions if you have this nailed down properly. Your homepage should not only just look good, it should work hard for your business. It should be a supporting salesperson for you. So take a few minutes and look at it after this episode. And we would love it if you would rate or review us on your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any new episodes that we come up with. And we will see you next week.